Hello everybody, my name is Alesh Eisner and welcome to the Canadian Money Talk, the channel about Canadian investing and personal finance. Please like and subscribe. I record 2 videos per week, so make sure you ring the notification bell to get notified each time one comes out. Let's talk about prenuptial agreements. Before I start, I'll describe my findings of how prenups work in BC, Canada. Please consult a lawyer or an expert in your area to determine what you need to do, because the law can be significantly different in your area, and not everything in this video is applicable to you. Get an expert even if you live in BC. Prenuptial agreements are not romantic, because you are basically planning for the end of your relationship. But you can sort of spin it to yourself and to your partner that this way you love each other for the person, not for their money. It would be helpful in all cases to make going your separate ways easier by having a prenup. So the Blu-rays were mine. But if you have no kids and no assets, a prenup is probably not absolutely necessary. Now, a BC lawyer told me that prenups only last 5 years. The agreement actually has no end date, but a judge will not enforce a prenup past 5 years, since it would seem unfair to be with somebody for 20 years, change one's mind, and demand a financial do-over. Also, a former coworker who renewed hers every few years by making her husband sign a new one or an extension came to my attention, but I would have to wonder whether a judge would enforce that, allowing her to keep things going indefinitely. I'm assuming that a lawyer suggested that, so it's something to ask your lawyer about as well. Different states and provinces have different rules, as I mentioned. A prenup can be called a cohabitation agreement if you have two people living together who aren't married. Now in BC, you become common law and for all intents and purposes effectively married after 2 years. So be aware of that and know the length of time that applies in your region. Now, a couple of interesting notes. There's some places in North America that make you responsible for your new partner's existing debts as soon as you are married. So know if that is the region that you are in. Some places, whatever you had coming in is yours if you split. But if the assets change form, it might be tricky tracking it. So if you used your assets to pay off your partner's personal debt, you may be out of luck, even if you're trying to help them, since they're now family. Also, having a child throws a prenup out, and it needs to be redone if possible. Now, my prenup, when I had about a $500,000 net worth, was a 10-pager. I got a template and some standard clauses off the internet and the library, and then I took it to a lawyer for review, which cost about $100, and any suggestions. Today, with my net worth being a little bit higher than that, I would definitely spend the money and have a lawyer write it. Now, into the prenup, you can put some interesting details about certain assets. Again, my prenup was done because we were buying a house together, and so there were clauses about my having first right to buy her out in the house and to keep the house, as well as a minimum selling price for the home if neither of us wanted it. The main purpose of the prenup is to decide how to subdivide the assets when there is a failure in the relationship. So my prenup, for example, said that I get to keep anything that I had going into the prenup, but anything made after that is 50-50. I agreed to this. It was my idea, in fact, even if I was making more money than my ex, and my ex put far less money into the home purchase than I did. But then she got 50% of the appreciation. I just thought of it as that once we were together, everything should be 50-50. I did make sure to keep my original assets separate, and I didn't change their form, meaning I didn't sell anything, which is sort of tricky for 4 or 5 years. It's important to mention that there should be no maintenance payment and no CPP division in the prenup. And also make sure that conflict resolution is through much cheaper mediators rather than court. Now, at the end of the prenup, you have to list all the assets and all the liabilities in an appendix. If you hide something, anything, the prenup is invalid, so don't do it. Make sure that it is upfront and fair. Keep in mind that prenups need to be fair, and that number one, both partners' agreements need to be checked by different lawyers. Number two, the other person needs to sign the prenup, and you'll have to live with that person, so make sure they don't resent what you had them sign. And if it comes to it, and number three, a judge needs to think that it's fair. The prenup can't be one-sided. You can structure yours however you see fit, but it still needs to be fair and pass those three tests above. If you write it to suppress the other person, even if you get them to sign it, if it ever goes to court, it's going to get thrown out and everything is going to be 50-50. So make it fair, and that way you'll at least get to keep what you had coming in. Now, as a personal aside, at least in Canada, where a primary residence is not taxable for capital gains when you sell it, it may just be easier and more profitable to just stay single and have each person live in a separate home. So you're not common law, you have two tax-free primary residences, and you're just long-term dating, and then you don't need to do a prenup. Now, I'm pretty sure the government wouldn't permit that for married people, only for unmarried singles. Again, this is just my idea. Please confirm that with somebody who knows what they're talking about and deals with these things. So I hope this walkthrough of my experience with prenups was useful. Even many years ago, that 10-page piece of paper saved me about $200,000. We were at about $900,000 net worth when we split up. The split still cost me $250, but it could have been the full $450, the half of the 900. So I was happy that I got the prenup done. And so with that, if you have any requests on what you'd like me to cover in future videos, please put that into the comment section. Please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and may you have a profitable day.